What is going on, you guys? Today I have another super quick episode for you. This one is from a channel called FBE Capital, and the episode title is Why Men Are Not Committing in Modern Dating Apps and Relationships. Seems interesting, so let's hop into it.
Have a conversation with him, that he could be here with me, that he could have chosen me.
Trying to get a guy to commit or trying to see where things go, I indulged in hookup culture.
Why am I not good enough to date? If you want to hook up with me, why do you not want to date me? And then it's like, is it my personality? Am I that insufferable?
When I tell people that I've never officially been on a date with someone, they don't believe me. But to me, a date is like actually going to a nice restaurant that someone's planned, and I've never had that.
Clearly, I'm not doing something right.
If you do not want to be with her, just tell me.
When I was little, I really didn't think it was going to be this hard to find someone.
It's literally just so confusing and so stressful, and no one seems to really know.
I already just want to say, if you're indulging in hookup culture, you're continuing to feed it. It doesn't matter what side it is, men or women, right? So that's worth remembering, because you're feeding this thing so it grows, and it starves if you don't feed it, right? So which side do you want to feed?
What they actually want.
When, I don't know how to fix this.
And before it gets any farther into this video, I do not condone guys or anybody giving up on dating. It's too hard, bro. They always leave. It's always, you see the risks, blah, blah, blah. You know, like guys want to be crybabies about it all day long. Right? And look, I get it. I'm sorry if you're watching this and you have gone through a difficult situation. Of course I have empathy for that, right? I have family members who have gone through divorces, right? Close to me. And so I've seen it, right? And at the same time, if you're a man, look, the biggest thing that's going to benefit you is not playing the victim and not staying a victim mindset your whole life. Oh, everything happens to me. Just think to yourself, why did this happen for me? What is there to learn from this? What can I do to be better? Because you get to choose your heart, right? It's choose, oh, I'm a crybaby, I'm a victim, oh, it's all of this is suffering, I'm just never going to date again, blah, blah, blah. Or you get to choose actually figuring it out. Because look, there's good women around in the US, in Canada, the UK, Australia, right, wherever you're from. And there's also good women in other countries. There's good and bad women no matter what country you go in. I know this isn't really a conversation about that necessarily, but I think that it'll benefit you more to take some accountability and not play the victim, because you get to choose your heart, right? I mean, you can be, oh, everything's so hard for me, or you can figure things out, learn, grow, so you can actually, because I'm willing to bet that deep down at your core, you want a fulfilling, loving relationship. And if you don't have them already, maybe a family and kids too, right? And if you already have that, maybe just finding a new partner who you can create a fulfilling family with, right? Loving relationship. You can still find it. It's basically, if you give up, then you give up. What you believe is true. It's it's impossible now. Well, then it's going to be true because you gave up, right? So the choice is yours.
Just want a family.
I had to come to terms with knowing that I'm not a woman that men commit to or love. They want, but I've never had any big romantic gestures.
So it happened again. I had a date cancel on me, and I got stood up.
And I have been stood up.
I know I deserve better. But he was that person for me.
So obviously, these women that you just saw can easily get 100 plus dates in a single week, either through dating apps or in real life. However, what they can't seem to get is for any of these guys to stick around or to show some genuine interest for more than 45 minutes, and that is what's driving them crazy.
Stop fucking ghosting.
You never hear, oh, I want you in my future. Instead, you hear, oh, I want you on top of me in bed. It is so fucked up.
And I'm tired of being single.
And I'm not capable to find someone who is able to get interested in me, in myself, for a long time. I don't know. It's only about superficiality, relationships.
Things have gotten so bad in modern dating
Honestly, if he just eats the butt,
that some of these women are now trying to come up with ways to force men into committing to them.
A month after we first met, our first date was October 18th, we drafted up relationship terms and conditions. Now, I will admit this is absolutely psychotic to write up 2 weeks after meeting somebody on Tinder, but
If we require commitment before sex,
we would have more relationship.
We must have plans on 2 weekend nights per month and 1 weekend day. If we go out together, we go home together. Once every 4 months, you must send me flowers.
The irony here is that these are all old school ways of dating. It was called courting and marriage that were deemed to be too restrictive and too sexist for modern women. And don't even get me started on this new bull called dating deposit.
She agreed to reschedule on one caveat. He would Venmo her a $50 deposit.
Now, in all honesty, I don't know exactly how prevalent this is, since I've only seen it pop up here and there, but if you're engaging in this, you need to stop right now. Women talk about not wanting to be treated like objects all the time, and then they come up with shit like this.
Duke said she's sent around 6 Venmo requests ranging from $1,500 to $3,000.
Okay, then just agree that's your merchandise.
Which is exactly what a car company does for its cars. Not to mention that plenty of women will flake on guys as well, so then what? Are we both going to pay a deposit on the other person? Because this completely cancels out the deposit. Unless you want to uphold some sort of sexist double standard where only the man has to pay the deposit and women are free to not show. Just like pay for the date, plan the date, ask her out, text her first.
But look, what's wrong with men paying? I mean, it's a first date, they've asked you on a date, they should be honoured to have you there.
Men always pay on my first date. So.
I would not go on a date with a guy.
Honored. Did you hear that language? Honored, like they're royalty or something. We're all human beings, right? Like, you know, it's another human being. And especially, like, imagine thinking that, like, going into, like, a first date or something. Like it's ridiculous no matter what point in the dating process it is. But imagine thinking that going into a first date. Oh, they're royalty, so I'm honored that they would even join me. Oh, like what kind of weak behavior is that? On both sides, really. Like, her thinking, like, oh, he should be honored that I'm even showing up on this first date. It's like, the whole point in a first date is it's almost not even a date, right? You have a slight bit of interest, at least they're attractive, and then you want to find out if they're cool, if you actually want to keep them around, like if you actually want to see them again. And that's why you should do something like boba, smoothies, ice cream, coffee, drinks, whatever it is. I don't drink, but something quick. So if you're going out on a bunch of dates, first of all, you're not spending a bunch of money on steak dinners, sushi dinners all the time. I think that is a bad idea because you're leading with money anyways. So don't do that. And then 2, it's a small time commitment, right? Like, if it's not a good vibe, if you're not connecting well, you can leave. The guy can leave, the girl can leave, it doesn't matter, right? So like coffee, that's easy to exit the situation. So someone saying like, oh, you should be honored that I'm even showing up, or even a guy being like, oh, I'm so honored, like I hope she likes me. It's like, what?
And split.
All right, maybe this sounds a little ridiculous, but like, if I'm giving you my time, I mean, maybe you should pay for my dinner.
So I guess women have no problem at all upholding a double standard, just as long as it benefits them.
Okay, and what about a second date? Does it change then?
Second date, still the man. He should pay.
Well, I heard something about like long-term relationships too. Like something was floating around the internet for a while where women were saying something like, what's his is mine, what his is mine, and what's mine is mine, right? Which in financial terms means he pays for me and I don't pay for us. Like it's not like, even if you say like the man's contributing more, right? She's saying like, oh, it's his money is my money and my money is my money, or his money is our money and mine is mine. So it's like she's not willing to share or contribute even every once in a while. It's all him pouring into it. And obviously you can see like the double standard.
No, don't put but still want the guy to pay.
You gotta love hypocrisy and inconsistency, man. It's fucking everywhere. By the way, if you agree that women want to have their cake and eat it too when it comes to modern dating, then please drop a like on the video and comment down below what you think. Because instead of just slightly tweaking the old system of courting and waiting till marriage, society said fuck it and burned the whole damn thing to the ground, giving birth to hookup culture under the banner of empowering and freeing women.
A man has been able to go out and have a one-night stand, and obviously he's having a one-night stand with someone.
I do have a high sex drive, definitely. I just have like friends who we just basically have sex.
Don't care, and you're going out to have your needs met, there should be no shaming and there's nothing wrong with having sex on the first date.
So I would always want to sleep with someone first before I committed to a relationship.
However, now that they are free to be just like the guys, many women want to go back to getting commitment up front and having guys spend time and money on elaborate dates.
I don't even condone drink dates. As a man, societally, he gets paid more, and his time that he has more of because he's not doing hair, makeup, and shaving his legs.
We are doing dinner. You're gonna pick me up, we're gonna come to the restaurant, we're gonna see your table manners, we're gonna see what you order, we're gonna see, do you hold your
the chopsticks correctly.
For a woman, it's really important that he is investing from the get-go. Stop saying yes to these low value, low investment dates, okay?
So why exactly would guys want to do this? Because everywhere you look nowadays, you keep hearing how independent women are and that they definitely do not need a man.
I would love to know, what do we need y'all for?
I think women are better than men.
At what?
Everything.
So name 2 things.
I just think we're better.
Women don't need men in order to make money to provide for themselves or take care of themselves.
Well, that's fine and all, but you do realize that that shit actually works both ways, right? Since men also don't need a woman to provide for them or cook for them, since there are hundreds of apps that do exactly that. Which means that technically both men and women don't need each other in a civilized modern world with modern comforts. However, the difference is that men don't constantly scream this from the top of their lungs, and men also don't go home and then make TikTok videos about how lonely they are after just saying that they don't need men.
Gorgeous, gorgeous girls, don't cry.
I think my favorite part about what he just said is like, it's less, hypothetically, right? You run into a girl who is sort of like one of these, right? It's less of a headache for a guy or a man to do his own laundry without the arguing, without the weirdness, right? Or to pay for a laundromat, right? Or it's less headache for him to cook for himself, or even take himself out on dinner, right? Like that would be better than the headache. Or even hiring someone like a chef or someone who can send like, you know, like guys do like bulking like meal plans for the gym. Like that's less of a headache, right? So there's like a lot of ways in which if you have the headache, there's an easier way, right? So I'm not saying, here's what I'm not saying, right? Because people will say, oh, well, if I can do all that, because that's the same argument that some of these girls are using. It's like, well, if I can do all these things, why do I need a man? I think that we both would benefit from each other, right? So that argument of like, oh, I don't need a girl or I don't need a man, like I don't need a woman, right? Like it's stupid, really, right? Because both sides really benefit from each other, having the balance of like masculine and feminine energy, and it's healthy, like on a biological, subconscious level, having that level of interaction. Especially when it comes to dating, right? So don't get that twisted like, oh, well, I'm just going to check out from dating because of that stuff, right? It's like, again, that's weak behavior. So my recommendation would be to figure it out and level up, right? I mean, you can play the victim or you can figure it out.
For a boy in a car, gorgeous, gorgeous girls don't need a boy.
I'm so sick of this. Like, I'm so sick of not feeling like a priority to you.
I need somebody to have my back. I do. I'm admitting it. I could say I'm a strong, independent woman that doesn't need no man, but I am saying I want a man, and I need a man.
Now that is what you call some mixed fucking messaging. So currently, you have modern women wanting courtship and chivalry, but they seem to forget that those two come at a price. Courtship and chivalry existed for a very specific reason, which allowed both parties to benefit from it. Women were getting safety and security of income and access to wealth, while men were able to build a legacy and show their level of success through marriage and children. So clearly, both men and women had a vested interest in finding a long-term partner, and this created a very strict code of conduct for both men and women. That is no longer the case, because even though both men and women have lost some benefits from long-term relationships, it is men who have seen the cost of engaging in long-term relationships rise while losing benefits.
You know, 53% of marriages end in divorce in New York State. So if I said to you there's a 53% chance that when you walk out the front door today, you're gonna get hit in the head with a bowling ball, you would either stay inside or at a minimum you would wear a helmet.
Which is exactly why some men are simply playing the field but not committing, while others have completely checked out. And this brings us to the original question, why are men not committing to women, or why are men not even showing up to date these women? Well, there are two main reasons for this. The first is simply women selecting men that clearly do not want commitment. Take this girl for instance.
But every single time this happens, I always tell myself like, oh, you'll get over it, or like you're over him, it'll be fine, right?
She's a very attractive woman, and she seems to be very nice, a bit crazy perhaps, but still very nice. So I'm sure plenty of guys would love to take her on a date or be in a relationship with her, but somehow she's getting ghosted non-stop.
I haven't blocked his number and he hasn't texted me.
Well, and you can hear what she's talking about, like, regardless of if she's getting a bunch of requests for dates, there's obviously like one guy that she really wants that she's not getting, right? Or like that sort of thing is like a process that's repeating itself, right? It's like, always the guy that's at the top of the list, like she really wants that one, it keeps not working for some reason. And that's like one example of it, but even another one, if you take into account, like, let's say a woman goes to a concert or there's social media involved, like, you know, there's examples of girls getting DM'd by, you know, like Chris Brown or Drake or whatever, right? And even like going out with them or hooking up with them or whatever, right? Like, and they think that because they got that attention from that person of status, that they're able to also secure a relationship with them, even if they had hooked up. And that's usually not true, right? Like, usually, like, they think that because they had that small level of interaction with them, but it's a completely different thing to be able to get them to commit, right? And, you know, that's just something worth remembering, because like then you get stuck in the situation of like, well, this person, you know, Chris Brown or Drake or somebody DM'd me, so like I'm never gonna lower my standards again to who I can actually get. I'm not necessarily saying like, oh, lower your standards, but like what I'm saying is like, then that creates a situation where they're not actually, their eyes aren't open to what they're actually capable of doing, right? Who they're actually capable of keeping around. And maybe also them needing to turn a mirror on themselves to figure out why they keep getting into these situations, just like men need to do too, right? Like, why do you keep getting into XYZ situation that's not a positive or desired result? What do you need to work on to reach that point? So it's a self-reflection.
Since he ghosted me, he hasn't, not once. He ghosted me once, and then he ghosted me twice. The second time before he ghosted me, he's like, I want to make it up to you. I want to take you out on a date. I can't stop thinking about you. You did nothing wrong.
Now, if we translate this disaster into male speech, then it's very clear she's a dude who has multiple options, all of which are better than her, and he's clearly not done playing with those options. This girl literally has the power to get married tomorrow if she truly wanted, but she chooses that one guy out of many who are willing, who is completely discarding her and treating her like trash. So yeah, you're never gonna find love or commitment if you keep operating this way. It's basically the same situation as George and Anfisa, when he was hoping that Anfisa would one day truly love him for who he is, and not see him as just a green card and a bag of money.
So basically you're saying if I can't provide, I'm worthless to you.
I don't understand what's wrong about it.
You're simply setting yourself up for failure, since the other person has zero interest in who you are as a person. So the question shouldn't be, why are men not committing? The question should really be, why are women choosing guys that don't want to? Well, that actually comes down to simple economics. If you want a $1 million house or a $1 million car, you actually have to show up with $1 million. But when it comes to dating and wanting a $1 million man, most women only show up with a cute smile and empty pockets.
What do you bring to the table when you're in a relationship?
Everything.
Why would I call?
By the way, that last guy, the guy that was in the gym talking to that girl, I worked for him. Like, so I was doing sales as a dating, like he was doing like a dating coaching program for guys. His name is How To Beast. He's got a good YouTube channel as well. I recommend checking it out. It's got like 1.7 million subscribers now. But I was doing sales, basically talking to guys who came through looking for help with dating, right? You know, in the dating apps, approaching girls, being able to keep a high quality girl around, right? And that was a super interesting process, right? And that's a really great question that he was just asking in that video. It's like, well, what do you bring to the table? Because a lot of times when that question is asked, it's like people kind of fumble, like they don't know how to answer it. Like, oh, well, I'm cute, right? It's like, you know, there's so much more, even on a guy's end, right? It's like, you know, it's like, we don't necessarily want to look at it as just a transactional thing, right? Like, oh, he can provide, like he's got the money, right? Because again, like you can be a target if it's the only reason you attracted a girl is because of your money. Maybe building your character and these other reasons, right? So again, both sides need to have like multiple things about them, like they're a good person, great personality, great character, built themselves up, ambitious maybe, not, and for women, not ambitious in like a masculine, like you're like competing against the man thing, but like, you know, you've got like a fulfilling, fun, and healthy relationship, right? So I recommend checking How to Beast's channel out because he's got a lot of good stuff, and it was definitely good working with him.
Find myself to you. What do you bring to the table?
Everything. I bring the whole table. I see so many TikTok clapbacks from both men and women answering this dumb question.
I adore this question because it always comes from men that I have absolutely zero intention of ever even looking at. Why are you worried about...
Did you see that like crazy face? Like, you know, it's like they're angry, but like it's like the angry smile. Like, oh, it's like a Karen smile. Like that has zero interest in ever being with.
What I bring to the table.
Can you imagine? What do you bring to the table? And the guy's like, this. Women would be like, so who pays the bills? And what does your car look like? And what kind of job do you have? And are you going to take care of the family? And do you know how to like fight? Like if I was in trouble, like you're going to protect me? And they'd have a whole list that you'd be checking off. He'd be like, well, you can barely keep up. And they're just like, this.
It's pretty funny how all of these so-called boss bitches are ready to rule the world, but they can never answer a basic question like, what do you bring to the table?
I guess this question attempts to investigate someone's value, but the question itself has no value because there is no table.
Anyways, my point is that if you're looking for that specialty guy that meets all of the criteria on your massive fucking list...
Heather bought me her list of requirements, so let's check them out. He must be between 30 and 45, financially stable, no kids, 5'10" or taller, honest, reliable, sweet and kind, quick-witted, romantic, and must never wear sweatpants. What? Okay, well, we got some more requirements. Must be adventurous, must be humble, must be spontaneous, must be a planner.
You better bring something special to the table to make sure that that guy sees value in being with you, investing time in you, and giving up all other options that are just a swipe away. Because if you don't, you're going to get...
By the way, there's this, you might have heard it before, but there's like a site called like a female delusion calculator. And basically, it's just kind of funny, right? Like I actually heard a buddy of mine say that he shared it with a girl that he knows. And she was like, whoa, like, so basically like, you know, she wanted a guy that was, you know, the stereotypical cliche you see, right? It's like 6 foot, he's making 6 figures, et cetera, et cetera. And when she enters in that data on the female delusion calculator, it basically shows that there's like a really super small percentage of men that are that, right? So she's like, it's supposed to open their eyes. I don't know if it does, because they're like, well, some are like, well, I'm not willing to settle for less, right? But it's like they realize that they're it's called the delusion calculator, right? So it's like they don't realize that that's just a small percentage of men, and it's like no matter the woman, she wants that top percentile guy, and that's female nature, right? Like hypergamy is like always wanting the better option, right? So it's just interesting to see that sort of thing.
Played very hard, and it's going to hurt. So like I mentioned in the previous video, why men age like fine wine, men actually have to spend years developing themselves, making themselves much more attractive to women, but at the same time, women are being told to never ever change themselves for a guy, and that they are perfectly fine just the way they are.
You, yes you.
And by the way, that creates a situation where men are crossing like 28, 30, 35, etc. And maybe they've had some failures and they're finally starting to hit their stride. Like their fitness is better, their finances are better, they're doing pretty well. And now they have access, like they're a lot more successful with women than they used to be, right? And what's funny is they're able to date same age, younger, right? And what happens is there's like a threshold where the woman has been like potentially like partying or not taking things seriously for a long time, and then she realizes she's like 27, so they cross around the same threshold. So the guy's starting to do well, the girl is like, oh, biological clock, I need to, like, babies need to happen soon, right? And you get on, like, some of them try to like pressure you into their timeline, which is like a really weird space to be for a guy, because it's like, well, I don't know, I mean, like, I kind of want to see where this goes, like actually see if it's a good fit for a long-term relationship before actually rushing things like that.
Angel, you're a goddess. Your body is beautiful.
I want you to have a beautiful, soft, amazing life where you're valued and upheld and worshipped and all the things you want. You just feel like a goddess life.
Goddess, goddess, goddess. You are beautiful. You are gorgeous.
Well, that's fine and all if you still believe in fairy tales, but in the real world, those women are going to face a harsh reality check.
And as he comes back into the car, he tells me, I don't think we're gonna have a good time. And I thought he was kidding, and I'm like, huh? He's like, I'm taking you back home, you're not my type. Oh my God. I'm sure it's because I'm overweight that he didn't want to go, like, continue the date or whatever. And I'm just like, wow, like, It was so fucking awkward.
But people don't just want to date me in my day-to-day life. Like, if he was actually interested, then the date probably would have gone better, you know? Like, this is our second date, and he's not once told me that I was pretty or that I looked nice, and he doesn't, like, ask me questions about myself, and I know that the answer is he's just not interested. Like, I'm aware of that, but, like, neither is anybody else, and at some point, I don't want to be single forever.
You see, women are constantly being lied to by other women, and they forget that if you are dating men, then maybe you should actually try to appeal to men instead of other women. Otherwise, why the hell would a guy...
You know what's tough about that one with the girl who's like, oh, the guy's not interested in me a second ago, who was like a bit bigger, right? Is like, you know, like appealing to a guy, right? Like most guys want a girl who's decently in shape, like respects herself, respects her body, takes care of her health, right? Now, of course, there's more to just the beauty part. So she might be like a really great person, right? And what's interesting about that part of the video is you can see in that if she took care of her body more and she was able to lose weight, like get into the gym, like she would probably be very attractive or decently attractive at least, right? Like it would be a lot easier for her to keep around and attract the kind of guy that she wants. So like my question, because I have family that's overweight too, right? So don't think I'm just like you know, judging there. Like I have family that's overweight, and the only thing that I can ever think is like when someone's overweight or they're abusing their body with like drugs, smoking, alcohol, etc., is why don't you love yourself enough to take care of yourself, right? To respect yourself. Like why don't you respect yourself or love yourself enough to do that? Or like if you really loved yourself or respected yourself, what would you do to improve your life? Probably part of it would be taking care of your health, your mindset, your body, your fitness, etc., among other things. So this is an interesting part there.
Admit to you, it is truly baffling that many women keep engaging activities that men clearly do not find attractive in a long-term partner, and then complain when they get rejected. This was why men aren't committing to women. Please drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos.
Awesome, guys. Well, definitely an interesting video. Again, right, like I don't condone giving up on dating. I think a lot of guys are like, you know, going that route. You know, maybe they've had some tough situations or experiences in the past, so I totally get it, right? And the only difference between a failure or someone who gave up versus someone who succeeds is that they kept going, right? That they didn't let it knock them down. They figured things out, leveled up, and got to the point where they actually found the fulfilling situations in their life, whether that's career, fitness, or dating, right? So you basically, again, right, you get to choose your heart. You can stay over there, or you can get to the point where you level up, figure those things out, bounce back. It's like, you know, like a spring, right? Like you bounce back from the situation and you create an amazing, fulfilling life, maybe with an amazing family, amazing wife, amazing relationship, whatever it is you're looking for, right? I am making this and saying this stuff because I'm in your corner and I want you to crush it. I want you to succeed. All right. Thank you for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. You got this, bro.